Welcome, fans and foes, viewers and haters. I'm your cinema simpleton because these days even Hollywood can't fool an idiot. Alright, Battle Los Angeles. This was one I was hopping over the fence whether or not to see, and I ended up seeing it. I've actually been seeing the last couple weeks a couple of films, and this is one that I think is on. People are calling it, the classic popcorn flick. It's an action sci-fi movie that they want to check out just for, Friday night kicks. And understandably so. It is a sci-fi action flick. And, looking at it a couple times, I really tried to put it into the right kind of context. I think walking out of it, I had that right context. It's a science fiction action movie for the Call of Duty generation. I really can't think of a better definition of it than that. Camera work is very kind of Cloverfield, District 9-ish. A lot of the camera work is like all over the place when it comes to the action, which can be very intense sometimes. It got some pretty intense action scenes. In fact, I think that there was probably one, and I'm not even kidding here, one noticeable tripod shot in the entire film. I'm pretty sure the entire time it's just a camera guy following these guys around the rest of the movie. But one noticeable tripod shot that I could pick up on. So basically the plot of this film is aliens have attacked Los Angeles, and a group of soldiers are they're not officially led by Aaron Eckhart's character, who's a staff sergeant. I think he's second in command. And they're basically trying to get from one side of the city to the other and rescue survivors in the midst of this battle. You really don't get that much of a sense of what the aliens are, except, aliens. And most of the time you don't get a good shot of what they look like. Well, you do here and there, but, it's not going to be, what do the aliens want? What's their motivation type thing? They're just there, they basically have as much character depth as the aliens in Independence Day. I think that's the essential theme that they're going with here. It's basically just about these soldiers, the entire film, and the things that they're going through from one side of the city to the other and trying to survive it all. Because not everybody's gonna, survive to the end of this whole battle. And really, it's about these soldiers who are kind of going beyond the Call of Duty, pardon the pun. And a couple of times, it's also them going beyond, I think, human limitations. Because these guys are getting hit by explosions and getting knocked across friggin' highways and stuff like that, probably every 5 minutes. And they're still getting up, bloody and coughing and stuff like that. Probably bone shattered, lungs paper thin from the impacts that they're going through. And most of the time they're still getting up and going to the next fight. And they're soldiers, they're trained for this sort of stuff, but come on, human beings are still fragile, they're fragile forms compared to a friggin' explosion going right next to you. I think that there was a couple of times, a decent handful of times, where you're really just thinking, okay, yeah, not everybody's going to survive to the end, but I think a couple more bodies should be added to the pile. This is kind of, kidding us around. And one thing that, the thing that I noticed in a recurring theme with checking out a couple of other reviews is that people were calling this movie unoriginal. That there's nothing really, new or creative with the story, with these characters, these soldiers. And to some degree, I do have to agree with them. Because really, when I walked out of this, I was thinking, there was not really much aside from the way that the action and the special effects were brought to life. This is a screenplay that could have just as easily been used 10 years ago and would have worked. There's not really much that they could have changed, and still not made a movie that would have made the same impact as this one did. And that's the thing, because they really didn't. They had all those classic soldier cliches like leave no man behind, and all this kind of stuff that you would expect in a type of soldier movie. And it's not going for anything that we wouldn't have been able to figure out ourselves in watching movies like Black Hawk Down or Saving Private Ryan or something like that. It's got all those kind of moments in there, and it still leaves the same impression. So yeah, there's not a lot that's new in terms of performance and in a story and where these characters are going in their different character arcs. So that was kind of the thing. The other thing that I found a little bit ridiculous is that with action movies, yeah, you can expect this, but I swear, and I am going to cuss here just to prove a point, this movie's dialogue, at least half of it, must be the words shit and goddamn, or goddamn it. Because literally, it's like every time that they are getting hit by something, those are the two words. It's one of those two words that they are saying, and like nothing else. I swear, it's like, okay, yeah, if you're gonna cuss, or you're gonna, be like literally crapping your pants at like being freaked out at these alien bullets or lasers firing at you, sure, you can swear all you like, but I think you've got a bigger vocabulary than just those two words. I think you can say other things than that. So yeah, it's like, okay, yeah, every time that they're getting attacked, you can almost like predict what they're gonna say, because it's the exact same thing over and over again. Okay, so maybe I am being a little nitpicky there, but still, you can watch Transformers or something like that, go through the same type of thing, and at least they are going to be a little bit more creative, except for, of course, Shia LaBeouf, who's always going, no, 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 no. But yeah, so the thing that I got most of this time was that these soldiers are your typical soldiers, and, like the stereotypical screenplay soldiers. Aaron Eckhart and a couple of the other guys were pretty good. Michelle Rodriguez, who I was looking forward to in this, who is actually becoming a pretty, diving straight into the action franchise as of late. They're all pretty good. The problem is there's nothing memorable about them. You could walk into the theater and walk out thinking, I can't really tell the difference between them and any other soldier I've seen in a movie before this, or probably 5-10 years down the road. So that was the thing. Like, they have their handful of emotional scenes, but most of the time they are these tough as nails, joking around soldiers, and the kids who are like tagging along trying to survive this whole war they're really better actors than they are. Most of the time it's just them just shooting up and loading their weapons and, running for their lives. So it was great action and visual effects that I think are the best qualities of the film. The screenplay works, but really, yeah, it is unoriginal. It's not beating your head over it's not beating you over the head unoriginal. But there's obviously a lot more that they could have worked into this to make it feel like it was not something that could have been done years ago and, come out now and at least impress us a little bit more. So I'm going to give Battle Los Angeles a 3 out of 5. I think that it's earned that. I really can't think of a higher rating than that. And I can't remember what the film was that came out, I think, last year. I think it's Skyline. I heard tremendously negative things about that, but from what I saw of the previews, I think this would probably have done better. I didn't see it. Don't take my word for it. I don't know whether it is worse or not, but I think that this would have been doing better than Skyline.